Us a few hours ahead.
Well, I said good evening.
Yes,
now.
you did.
Oh, okay. I wanted to be sure my brain function was intact. I can't trust myself around this time. I'm so used to saying good morning.
Yeah.
So it's a good evening, right? Or wait, the debate around evening, is it after 3 o'clock? Is it 4 o'clock? It's from 4 o'clock that you say good evening. Okay, join wherever you are. If you're in Karimu and it's evening that meets you there, good evening. Some of you are already in traffic, so you already know it's going to be a good evening. The level of traffic that you're inside is thick, right? Okay, I can say good afternoon to the very posh Somi. All right, good afternoon.
Femi.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
So have you ever solved the family relationship people were solving yesterday? I was listening to you yesterday on your show alongside with Biggie.
Yes. Well, we came to a compromise.
Oh, what was the compromise?
I mean, the woman has to be a woman.
So
where an African man is concerned.
So she will say she will not say my dear in the office.
No, she can't. She can't do that.
She will say Chidima.
She will say sir.
Chidi.
She will call him sir in the office.
Even though she's superior or she's senior.
Oh yes, of course she will call him sir in the office.
Taboo. It's not working out in my head. Okay, welcome to Art Fact this very evening. Of course, we like to start off with the roundtable. It's 3:06 p.m. Nigerian time, and yes, it is the 5th day now in February. It's moving along fine, isn't it? I'm sure it is moving along fine for you. We would like to take a look at some of those big stories, the roundtable. Our guest will step into the studio shortly from now. But the real guest that is waiting for his alert is also here with us. His name is Fizi. He just decided, when somebody is shy and is looking at, I can't but not feature. So he decided to beg us to allow him join on the show. Allow him join on the show. Allow the light to work first now. So allow him join on the show. And so we thought it best to bring Mr. Emmanuel Abimbola. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasant greeting to you.
Thank you.
On this show, you are Mr. Emmanuel Abimbola.
Well, I'm waiting for the cameras to go off.
For the cameras to go off. No, Gwenga, keep streaming. Just keep the light on. Don't let AEDC touch your side. Well, tonight, now I'm very confused. Whichever one you hear, just assume and accept. We're streaming live on Facebook, by the way. That's facebook.com/Nigeria Info Abuja. So go on, leave your comments there. And if you're on the street protesting, like we've discovered some Nigerians are, Abuja is very close to Niger State as well. But from what we do know, youths and women of Niger State have taken onto the streets protesting over what they call the biting hardship and the rising cost of living in the country. The protest started when a group of women blocked Minabida Road, the popular, I jumped the pronunciation of that part, ran about to lament what they termed the suffering under Bola Tinubu government. Of course, they were later joined by men and women on the streets to also speak about the leadership style and the effect it has brought on. And somebody cleverly reminded me when I read through this story that the president, last time he was seen, was in France enjoying the Super Eagles game and on a break. How do you break when the country seems to be so tense? Or is it that we're sustained our suffering so much so that even the people who are supposed to examine or possibly think about the pain we feel don't know how to measure it? They will be all right. Seems to be the biggest phrasing around that. Am I getting this right?
It's an interesting one. I mean, because the people are expressing their displeasure in Niger State. I mean, they've gone out to the streets to protest. We do know that quite a number of Nigerians have also lamented the state of things in the country. But when you have a representative of the presidency and the president himself coming out to say, look, Nigerians are fine with the policies that the president has put in place, and then you start to try and draw a parallel and say, okay, which Nigerians now? The ones protesting on the streets.
Like Mr. Bimbola is fine.
Well,
yeah.
After all, he is the billionaire.
Yes, he's the billionaire.
He is the billionaire. So
yes. What do you make of it? And he
calls billionaire in all currencies. So and maybe some of the currencies are missing.
I mean, yes, you can be a billionaire, but this is not the time to just say you are a billionaire. I mean, it's quite unfortunate to see that we have gotten into that point where a state like Niger State is already protesting about the cost of living. You are not a billionaire, or you don't have money when people around you are actually suffering. You are not safe. It only just says to you that something will be coming your way that might not be very pleasant. I mean, if you also look at it critically well, like what Dr. Femi D was also saying, that looking at the borderline that we have with Niger State, it's a very close line. I mean, it's as close as when people in Suleja think that they are in Abuja, but they are under Niger State. It's as close as where people in Sabon Wuse can take a job in Wuse Market. There are people who work in Wuse, who work in Barnet, who live in Sabon Wuse, which is actually in Niger State. And they are now going on to protest cost of living. And unfortunately, we also had someone who works in the presidency who thinks his reply to Atiku is just the reply to Atiku, talking about cost of living is still quite relatively low in Africa. Bayo put out that statement. I mean, in as much as you are responding for the presidency, I think it is quite sensitive not to do that in this time that we are, where the cost of living is really biting hard. If you look at Niger State, for example, this is a state that has been grappling with insecurity. Not just insecurity, look at the states that surround them, Abuja, Zamfara, Kaduna, and the likes of that. Niger is very, very big. Have they been able to go to farm?
It's the biggest state in Nigeria, actually.
Have they been able to go to farm? What is the cost of living right now in Niger State? We're talking about a state where people still take bikes as transportation, are already complaining. How much more in Abuja, where you can't even find some of those bikes? If you know how much the communities where they use Keke Napep in Abuja, if you know how much they charge now, you'd understand what we're saying. I think it is a time where we need to look inward quickly and start to fight around food security.
Yeah, there's something, however, that confuses me. And Somi, you also were checking on Bayo Ononuga, who responded on behalf of the presidency. Do you think sometimes, as Nigerians, and there's a question for everybody who's listening in as well, do you think we confuse when someone is responding on behalf of the president to another politician as a response to Nigerians? Because he would tell you was responding to what it may have termed that the PDP presidential candidate in the last election doesn't have any baseline to measure the effects and the efficiency of the presidency, and say, this is what you don't know about how effective Tinubu is. You have it all misconstrued. Why are you saying that the cost of living is high and the likes of that? Why are you stirring up the people's emotions? It was responding to Atiku. Do you think it is out of place to take on the response you provide for a politician and adopt it to Nigerians and say, Nigerians, I was not talking to you, I was talking to Atiku?
I mean, Dr. Femi D, as of today, Tinubu is not a property of himself. He's a property of the public, of Nigerian public. As a country, he's sworn an allegiance. He's representing us. He's us wherever he is. And that's why some people have the mind to go around to say, oh, why does he even have to do a private visit to France? But that's not the conversation here. Bayo should know that if he's responding on behalf of the president, it is a document that is put out in the public space where people can also look at it and read it and digest it. Yes, you are responding to a PDP presidential aspirant who also wanted to be the number one man of this country. He is also speaking from his own part of saying, oh, if I were to have gotten that seat, I should have led in this particular way. So any response on behalf of Mr. President is also speaking to Nigerian people. So we should know that it's not just, it's not a private chat. If it was a private chat, there's none of our business with it. But it's in the public space. You put it out in the public space. So you are saying that all of us, it's as good. The president the president did not say, oh, I will be only president for the APC people, or I'll be president for those who supported me. No, he's the president, regardless of whatever party you are. He's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Even if we have XYZ party, he's also the president of whoever chairs that party. So that person first is a Nigerian.
So every other month, the NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, they come up with numbers, percentages that people say no matter what you call it, even if you say it's 100% of suffering measurement, I call it by 100%, it still doesn't feel like, it feels like it is more than it feels like. And you know, a lot of people have debated in recent times to say, okay, for example, the World Bank was putting out numbers and saying, well, on the long run, Nigeria will benefit, the cost of inflation will come back, everything will go back, going the other direction. And at the same time, there are people who are also caught up. And I don't know if somebody says this, but you also find where it is believed that there is a certain measure of pain or arrival of pain the Nigerians will feel before they start to express their displeasure at the level of protest. So today was Niger State, right? Mm-hmm. There's no guarantee that that could happen possibly next in likes of Lagos, Kaduna, and any other, all those other locations where we know that there's the numbers, where people feel differently, where people understand that, from Duse to Area 1 is 700 Naira. And suddenly the cost of transportation starts to make sense. Cost of feeding starts to make sense. And in the last 2 weeks, I don't know if you guys saw the story on men and women who are committed to selling their babies, right, or their children in order to make a living. Last time we really
for 800,000.
There was 800,000 today, right?
Which the police has also rescued the baby.
But that was the maid who made off with the baby.
Yes.
In
Lagos, I think somewhere in Lagos.
Yes.
So if human beings are being kidnapped and exchanged for cash, and now people are starting to look at child sale as an option for feeding and survival, it brings you to a level where measurements do not even tell the story, where any kind of measurement do not tell the story of the suffering. But my classic response is this, and I wonder if you guys think about this way. Do you think, so for example, we hear things like the CBN is doing this, is doing that. Those are government movements to respond to the situation of things. Do you think there are direct movements that Nigerians would understand? Like the CBN governor alluding that, maybe the cost of petrol will come down. Do you think there are direct movements that go directly to the people and that will make the people feel suddenly, well, these people are actually trying to do things that would touch my life directly and not put the PowerPoints and numbers to tell me they are moving things around?
Okay, so I think that the key thing to take, in this entire situation as regards federal government and what's going on with the people is a seeming lack of sensitivity in their approach to these issues. Okay, so you talk about whether statements that are being put out, like CBN governor was on TV today giving a clear description of what they are doing, their policies and all of that. In the long run, if they are committed to it, some of these things are going to start to drill down to the average man. They're going to start to drill down to the common man. And I think some Nigerians do see this, but it's the issue is looking at that and given the slow pace at which some of these things are happening and how long it's taking for it to drill down to the average man on the street, and then still looking at the leaders who are not exercising any form of, how would I put it, these austerity measures that the average people have to go through, before it becomes better, before that light at the end of the tunnel shows up, doesn't seem to be affecting, the people at the helm of affairs. So it's difficult for people to be able to say, okay, look, I can just hold on for this much longer.
I think, Somi, that our leaders are not very, they don't have very good level of pretense. They don't know how to pretend. And that's
how do you master pretense?
Yes, I mean, that's how it is. Because you can't compare someone who is earning at a particular amount and telling the person to understand that you are not earning in a particular amount. That's the case. That's what we have here. Is the dollar readily available to you, Somi, as you are sitting in the studio? The answer is no. There are some people.
And by the way, sorry to interrupt you. And this is a question I've heard some government officials say that when Nigerians say dollar is going up and Naira, okay, dollar is staying in one place, Naira is going all over the place, that the average Nigerian doesn't spend dollar. Why are they only shouting dollar? How does that make sense?
Exactly.
The average Nigerian may not have a need to put the dollar to get, services, but the cost, the fact that the dollar is rising drills down to what the average person is going to eat.
Some say it's a misconstruction.
How so?
That the relationship within the dollar and the Naira is there for a lot of people who stay within the foreign exchange sector or do things, and that it is not that when the Naira hits 1,500 Naira against the dollar today, that later this evening, bag of Gary will go up. That it's just a figment of our imagination. I'm playing the devil's advocate here. It's a figment of our imagination to say. I mean, it's the dollar to and our daily living cannot be compared to when you say suddenly you go outside and they say the petrol price is now 900 naira.
Dr.
That
Femi
one is immediate.
Dr. Femi
That the exchange rate is not immediate on the effects of our lives. That
Dr.
it's
Femi,
just somebody.
can we imagine for a
function
minute?
of export, import, the relationship
They're not denying that. They're just saying it's a long shot. That you cannot say it's so close.
Can we imagine this for a minute?
Yes,
that
please.
As of today, nobody is meant to spend dollar or trade in dollar in Nigeria. Where will the Naira be? The last time anybody ever traveled out of this country, I don't know if you by chance use your Naira to buy anything, even perfume.
Even banks are not allowing us to use Naira to buy our
So
cards
why
to buy
won't
things.
we always have this?
Like
Why won't we always have this dangling thing with dollar staying in one place and Naira being all over the place? Of course, it's going to be all over the place.
But is it immediate?
We're working with a currency that does not intend to change the power drive of purchasing anything in the country. I mean, if I have, as at today, as at Friday, Dr. Femi, $2 note, a gift of $2 note was 3,150 naira. How do you explain that? $2. How do you carry 2 naira if it's even available, even if the CBN still have it? It used to be in coin, or they now did a note for it. Can that equate to anything? Can you boldly give a Nigerian who is below 18 years old a 2 naira gift today, and it will make sense to that Nigeria?
Okay, so let me
see if I can try and answer the question of whether the effects are immediate or not. There was a very interesting banter that I saw on X today, going back and forth how I think it was Ben Murray Bruce, who came out to say, look, if we want the effects of this dollar thing to not come down to us and affect us, buy only
made in
Nigeria goods, okay? Buy we know them, the salt, the sugars, the vehicle manufacturers, all of that. And then someone came out to say, look, to show you how this solution that you have preferred is not necessarily going to make that much sense. The things that these manufacturers, what they use to manufacture the products that we use, whether it is food, whether it is vehicles and all of that, a lot of them are imported. So automatically, when the dollar goes up, it means that they are going to import at that rate that has gone up, and then it will drill down to the Naira which you're using to buy the product the end user.
Let me look. Let's be very frank, and this is a debate that I know that a lot of women will come from my neck, and therefore will open up the phone lines immediately.
I'm here.
Oh, she's there to represent. So, see, for example, now there are all kinds of seasoning in the market that people buy to make their stew and the likes of that. And in a recent debate, I listened to some women and they talked about it. I once said, but when we're growing up, we're not so keen on consumer habits of foreign products. When we were growing up, it's a issue of you grind the crayfish here, what else do they add now? Crayfish here, then you grind the akmon, and you grind iru, and you use your regular salt. Before we went from, I don't even know if Anapuna is a trade brand, but I do know that there was the bigger table salts that the size was bigger compared to the very smooth salts now that is very packaged and expensive. Now people don't even buy salts that they buy in market again in bowl, in modu. People usually go for the sachet one. That some of our consumer habits have changed over the years and has driven us into an appetite that we cannot pay for. That if only we change our appetite, then the made in Nigerian products will possibly survive. And I think that may be something that...
I just have one question.
Yeah, which is?
I'm not quite sure.
Akmo is not made outside Nigeria.
I'm not sure how many people have tried to go with this whole made in Nigeria thing, but the last time you bought locally manufactured rice, how much was it in comparison to the so-called foreign rice? You see that the difference is next to nothing. And you're getting, in some cases, I've seen some really, really fantastic products, and that you can say, okay, the quality is comparable. But when it comes down to a lot of these things, I don't know about other women who are listening, but you look at them side by side and you kind of find reason to want to go back to that one that is not indigenously manufactured.
Yeah.
Okay. It's in a number of things. Let's even drill down to the fashion industry. Try a made in Nigeria attire compared to the one that you can buy.
But isn't that
I disagree. I disagree with you. I mean, as a student of marketing, I disagree with you because all of this thing has to do with consumer behavior and perception.
Excellent.
How it is being viewed, what is being viewed. How do you look at this product vis-a-vis that product? What support level do we give to indigenous brand? What support level do they give to their indigenous brand as of today? I mean, whether it's salt, whether it's pepper, whether it's, you hear people talk about, Cameroon pepper, Ghanaian pepper. What happened to the Nigerian atarudo? Nothing ever happened to it. The truth is, somebody did not do some level of packaging to attract whatever was attracted to it. Some people put ask some of our locally made manufacturers, ask any of them, what's your budget for advertising of your product? They don't have a budget. There are other organizations that have so much budget to push out what they push out, the way they push it out. Talking about the rice, the truth is, if we do our job diligently well and remove those stones and plant them where we're supposed to.
Who is going to remove the stones?
Of course, the manufacturer. If we do not
Thank you. I like the fact that you are saying if, because what happens in, I'm not saying all cases, I'm not saying most cases, right? There is the thing of the consumer habits and perception. I agree. But I am speaking as somebody who has tried to venture into this whole idea of buy Nigerian, and sometimes it is difficult.
But do you know it is lack of confidence that we also put on the manufacturers that make the manufacturers to
brings about that lack
you
of
buy
confidence.
A shoe in Onitsha and it has 3 brands. On top of the shoe, it has a Prada strap. Right? Then inside, it's showing a Louis Vuitton. Then just underneath the sole, there's a Gucci, just in case there is one of them that is your favorite to make you buy the shoe. So it's a lack of confidence we also, as a people, that we have pushed into indigenous products.
I'm thinking. Somi, another thing. We're gonna start taking calls shortly before we move on to the next set of topics on the roundtable. I'm concerned. In 1988 or 89, I'm not sure when exactly. There was this thing called the Structural Adjustment Program. You remember it, SAP, right?
I think IBB.
Yes, IBB. Yeah. Excellent. Oh, wow. Billionaire with old money. Old mind, too. This is my bumper for you. If you're on Facebook, you can see that I actually gave you a big bumper. Old man in young body. But there's SAP. There was SAP. And the concept of SAP, what made SAP very, very interesting at that time, I recall very cleverly, was not only what the government was talking about, adjust, endure, which is similar to what we're saying now, was what made it really interesting was that everybody was starting to think of very ingenious way of how not to spend the small that I have. Now, I don't know how to forgive the language, but I mean, that was really the concept around it. How not to spend what I have, how not to be compelled to make everything into I have to buy. I have some very exciting neighbors. In front of her, there's the one that's into sowing bitter leaf. There's the one that is into curry leaf, different things. And honest, by the time they cut the leaf, before you make curry leaf the next time, and that leaf will have grown back as against going to the market. I'm not saying everybody can do this. I'm just saying that sometimes that extra 100 Naira, one way or the other, helps everybody to survive. But do you think our consumer habits are being compelled to structure a different way? Now, this is not even talking about farming and everybody who's having a farming period. There was nothing wrong in ever making tomato juice into ketchup. I would have been excited to see tomato juice become a ketchup container that somebody sells. I don't even know is it called ketchup or is it just tomato juice?
I mean, Dr. Femdi, you're about to open something that will snowball into other things, because if you look at tomato juice, then why won't Benue State, for God in heaven's sake, start making and packaging orange juice?
I did not come to work today.
Why? I mean, why can't they? These are places where, Dr. Femdi, you are driving by and they can gift you orange.
No, wait. Go to Kaduna during mango season. Everywhere, the whole Kaduna smells of mango. You can't drive a few meters before you run into a mango tree. Everywhere smells of mango. I told someone to give me mangoes some time ago. I said, just give me a bag. I was hoping it's going to be a poly bag. He brought on a bag of mangoes and then became the guy who was sharing mangoes by force in my area because I was going to go bad. But I mean, this to tell you, but you can't. It doesn't make sense to sell mangoes in Kaduna during mango season because almost every house or company has mangoes. Let's take on some calls before we go on to the next set of stories. I know we've touched a little bit on the economy, and Somi is really keen on talking about CBN governor and some of the things he's asking us to do. The lines are open. Are you there? Oh yes, I'm sure you are. 08095974869. Yeah, and on WhatsApp it's 08099993137. If you have those numbers, you're doing fine. Let's take some of your calls. Don't bite my ear. I used to bite too.
Good afternoon.
Hello, and every other person in the studio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Chris. I'm calling from Abuja right now.
Oh, welcome, sir.
But before I go on, yesterday I do tea for my son. You know what this boy asked me? He said, Daddy, why is this tea bitter? I don't know what I got. After I say, it's because this one, they call it 3 in 1. There is no milk. My son actually drink the tea and I'm going to hold the bread and cry.
Oh.
Are you aware that a meter of rice is about 2,000 plus now?
Yes.
Oh, you see why we keep on shouting? You see why we are telling Nigeria because everybody is still lamb. There is no political party, there is no tribe, there is no religion. Everybody they cry, everybody they lamb. But then after that now, the issue of dollars, I think Nigerians we actually know what our problem is. But to summon courage and work with the need to resolving that problem. As it is now, the only sort of, exchange, foreign exchange earnings is just our crude oil, It's just our crude oil.
Okay.
After that crude oil, my brother, there is nothing. See, that is why when somebody was happening and shouting from consumption to production, it means a whole lot. Like our textile industry, like our rice, these are not tyrannies in the north, and so many other things. If we had come back, if we had allowed this man, and it comes back from the stretch,
okay.
Employment,
So let's leave it at that with you. Yeah. All right. Thank you, dear friend. Let's leave it at that so I can take some more calls. We can take some more calls, okay? But we need to touch on other topics as well, but we would keep on with the calls for a while, yeah?
Hello.
Hello, Femi.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I greet you. Somi.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
My name is Abbas.
Good to have you here, sir. Go ahead.
We are talking of the high cost of the living, and there are a lot of facts. When you guys are discussing about,
so it's a little bit tough to hear Selassie. I don't know if you guys can hear him. It's a struggle. But let's give this a try.
I don't know if you guys can hear him. It's a struggle. But let's give this a try.
Good day.
Yes, good day. If you can turn down your listening device, I wouldn't hear my voice this handsome.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mr. Richard from Germany.
Welcome.
Yeah, good day to my folks. Look, about what you are discussing right now, even here in Germany, if you want to buy made rice from Thailand, you can get it. From India, you can get it. It is called free market. The problem you have in Nigeria is because there is no system. The government is not working. Nothing is working. Here in Germany, this is a land where you produce Mercedes, BMW, all these kind of things. But you have Toyota here. Toyota is even more selling than German cars. So the issue is that Nigeria has not started, or the people in the government have not started to discuss Nigeria issues. It's not about local manufacturing, look at this, look at that. No. You can have those things, and if they can compete with the foreign ones will disappear automatically, or the price will be the same. But whereby there is no energy to produce all those things, there is no resources, there is no money. The bank is giving you, if you go to the bank to get a loan, the bank will tell you 27% interest rate. Where on earth does that happen? Here in Germany, it's at 2.5%. So the issue is not local production. The issue is that there is no governance in Nigeria since I was born in Nigeria. There's no governance. Look at it. You are talking about mango trees in Benue State. Over here you have everything from Spain, from Italy, from everywhere. It depends on the best you want to buy or the cheapest one. So the issue that there is, for example, look at the business that there's no security. How are they going to go to enter bush and push?
Yeah, that's another reality. True to that.
So how are they going to do this? So the issue is the governance. For example, finally, you're talking about dollars to dollars. All of a sudden, I bought cement 2 days ago, 5.7. Now it's 6.5. What happened? Because there's no government, there's no regulation. You cannot do this kind of thing.
I should stop cement business like this.
Cartel here. The price, nobody can put this kind of ridiculous price and get away with it. It is all mafiosi.
All right, my brother. Thank you so much. Good morning. Okay, that's for good morning, right?
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Femi is still trying to adjust.
Yes, there's so much adjustment in me.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, my sister.
Good to have you here, sir. What's your name?
My name is Obedient Moses.
Welcome, sir.
We are talking about cost of living in Nigeria. And some states are protesting.
Niger State, to be specific.
Because of hungry. Now, let me just tell you people one thing. My name is Obedient Moses, naturally. Like the way the last caller just said, there is no government in this country. Understand me?
Well, maybe lack of proper governance, but no government is a different thing. Lack of proper governance.
Okay, proper government.
Governance.
Now, anytime Nigeria has suffered enough, all Nigerian citizens, both small, old, and big, they did it in Egypt. They will come out on street to tell the government, no, it is enough. And that is why we are looking for people to be a vibrant young man that are supposed to take this country to...
wait, now let's get to election year now, then you start this campaign again.
Not enough, thank you.
All right. Well, it's pointless trying to start a campaign outside the campaign year or an election year anyway. Okay, let's read some first messages. Somi, why me, I'm when you do a broadcast, I'm like half reality, half radio. So I can't hide it. Somi's doing her face one kind.
It's hard to not hear these things and think, what can we do? And some people have said it's not that there is a lack of knowledge of what to do. It's whether we have the political will to effect some of these things. Anyway, let's take some messages. Mwazu John Lasisi from Jigo Bari Abuja says it's a brand new day. He welcomes Elefizi and Mr. Emmanuel. He says you are both welcome. What's John Lasisi? They are one and the same person, okay? He says that he's protesting right now in his house because of the hardship in town. He's working to get money. And it's not like he's not trying at all, but, and he says he's overwhelmed with the high cost of living these days. Thank you so much for your message. Mr. Eze from Kubwa says also the hardship is unbearable. More messages coming in. Chemeka G. Edwin, I celebrate you all, he says. Dr. Femi D, are you aware that when impunity is conceived, it gives birth to corruption, kidnapping, economic woes? Which state is next after Niger State today? Let the government of President Tinubu do something urgently because the hardship will give birth to fire on the mountain. God help us. Thank you so much. Mbai Kechuku says, keep talking, folks, is cheaper than action.
Okay.
Lawrence Eze says, I just hope Agbado supporters are teaching Peter Obi and his supporters a big lesson. What does that even mean?
I'm not at home. Well, Aka Fred from Suleja said, Barry's doing a good job, but he should know that Nigeria are really suffering. He knows, but he's defending his sports. I don't blame him because he has everything free. It's a matter of time when all waiting for 2027. God will spare our life. God bless Nigeria. God bless Nigeria. God bless Info. Aka Fred from Suleja did write that in as well. Good afternoon, Somi, Femi, and Elafizi. I think it's not good to use simile in describing the situation of Nigeria. Afsat writes that in. Radio Senator says, Bayo Ononuga's response to Atiku Abubakar is a mere response to an opposition leader, and the statement is also meant for those who also want to play politics along with the politicians. The protests in Niger State may spread across the country due to economic hardship in the country. Those who are selling their children on the narrative of hardship are just callous and myopic in their reasons. The economic policy of the President Tinubu is going to take 2 years before everything will be normal. It's not rocket science. President Tinubu should urgently embark on national food security and ban all the market unions and dismantle all the local government roadblocks revenue across the country. Radio Senator writes that in. Hello, who's agreeing to this suggestion? I'm just thinking.
Which one? That is going to take 2 years?
Yeah, the 2 years, then ban everything, the road market, the unions and the likes of that. Who's going to be around for 2 years? At this rate, do you think Nigeria has 2 years? Do you have 2 years in you? It's not in his head. But who has 2 years in them to go through this? You know, I was recently having a chat with one of our bosses, and I'm like, boss, so help your boy. You said, he said, even me, I'm poor. I'm poorer than I was. And I started this job. That was his response. And I'm thinking, should we take cue from this guy who says, it will take 2 years. Normally, in all economic reasoning, it takes about 2 years, 2 microeconomic years for anything you move on the chessboard to make any significant difference. And if there's any move you make in economics at all that makes sense or doesn't make sense, it takes 2 quarters. That's about 6 months.
6 months.
Yes, for you to make sense. I mean, it takes 2 quarters for you to know whether you are going into, is it inflation? No, not inflation. What's the... I'm trying to forget when you have a crisis that they say something recession, is it depression or depression? Recession. Yes, that's the one I'm looking for. 2 quarters back to back. It takes you to go there. Now the question I'm asking is, what direction are we in? Does it look like we're heading in that direction of recession? And do Nigerians, do you have 2 years in you? I'm asking you to wait around and see. And I'm not saying protest is the key. It may not, in fact, you have to be fool enough to shout, but for you to be outside. But do you have 2 years in you to answer to that? We take your responses. Let's take on the next story where we have the CBN governor also talking about Forex. We started off on the story slightly, right?
Yes, it's Central Bank of Nigeria said that they uncovered invalid foreign overdue claims totaling $2.4 billion, which has pressured the Naira for long and spooked the currency market. And this was a statement given by Central Bank Governor Olayemi Cardoso today on Monday. He said this discovery was made after an audit by the consultant that the CBN engaged brought several shady deals to light. So in case some of you are wondering, what some of the factors are that have been affecting the dollar, this is one of such things. He says after 7 years of being concealed from public knowledge, the audited accounts of the CBN became public, and the auditors revealed $7 billion backlog of unmet dollar demands from investors. Now, I think the most interesting thing about this story is that, what they found out of the $7 billion, the Deloitte report found that as much as $2.4 billion of the said backlog are false claims, with claimers unable to present import documents for some instances. I think I read this first on X, and when you get into it, you realize that 2.4 billion, you see some people who made requests who were given more than they requested for. There were people who did not make requests who were given. And then it's just all over the place. And you're talking about $2.4 billion dollars of this amount.
Those are very small money,
Yeah, you say what? Say? Yeah, let me now say it again.
Yeah, those are very small.
Okay.
For who?
Just have to turn up your mic in case you were
2 points. What? Billion?
If I say you are speaking as a billionaire now, you say
of
this
course.
not a billionaire.
Those are small money. It's just that, yes, the CBN governor, and coming to him, he has an antecedent, and we know his antecedent. And one can also say, okay, he's a man that is going in the right direction. The concept about the bank, that 24 hours push that the bank should release, that's the major thing. There are key players in the banking industry. And there are some guys also, when we talk about Zone 4, who are also more powerful in the control of the dollar, and they know how the business run. So do you know what it takes for you to go to the bank and say, oh, you want to access this particular, and we don't have, there's a rate here, there's that rate here, there's that. Then when you consent to that rate, you now start seeing the dollar, and you're wondering, where is it coming from? Did he Did he crawl into your system or did he crawl out from somewhere? I mean, these are what we're talking about when you are seeing some of these things. And when Femi D was also talking about issues around if Nigerians can wait till that time, this is what we're talking about. Effective communications can make Nigerians wait to see the light after the tunnel.
But it's not sometimes in the English that stays up in your memory. It's also the fact that you have a child with rumbling stomach in the next room.
Dr. Femi D, when you have a child with a rumbling stomach, I mean, communication of all kinds starts from there. To say, oh, Pele, it will go. While we're waiting while we're waiting for, you don't even know if it will go, but you are making process to ensure that it goes. No, that's the key thing, and you are carrying the child, even the child who is feeling the pain, you are carrying the child along the process.
But I also have a funny feeling that the increase in crime rate, or the report, what when we're growing up, we used to call. I'm trying to remember how to explain it in English. Oh, dear Jesus. Help me explain this thing in English. The mysteries of this world.
The mystery of this world.
Idodunia. I think that's how it's said in outside there. Idodunia.
Yes.
Idodunia. Yes. That was. No, these were stories that one would wonder about. But now we're seeing stories about, people, the children. There's a guy in Bayelsa who hacked his girlfriend to death, similar situation, and the likes of that. If you're waiting around for 2 years, what's the guarantee that the crime level will not go crazy? And by the way, there's something that's also very, very tough to say. I noticed that some of the criminals that the police are parading, especially in recent times, still talking about money level analysis. Some of them will claim, it's the first time that they're doing this. Some of them will claim the fact that, I just joined bad gang for 1 day, for 6 hours only. I was not in bad gang before. And you start to think that some of the people who are even keen or trying out kidnapping are not people who have stayed long in it, but are saying, if there's free money moving around and without proper tracing or any attempt of being caught, why can't I do this thing one time and get away with it?
I mean, that's the reason. Free law catching on them sharply.
Tall.
It's not an excuse.
Yes, it's not.
Ignorance is not an excuse. We're all in it together. The thing is, some people say, our elastic limits are different. Of course, they are different, but not when you now play rough into the hands of the law. The law would surely take its full course.
So here's the thing for me. First and foremost, Radio Senator came up and talked about, the 2-year gap before we start to see anything happening. And of course, my learned economist in the House also confirmed that usually is what happens. I do not know that we've heard any government official or the president or anyone come and say, look, we just need to hang in here for this specific period of time.
So now you're coming to my point.
It's open-ended, and it just makes you wonder. They can't even tell us when, all right? If we even have an idea when, then we know that, okay, this policy, we can be measuring in it.
Yeah, I know that in the next 30 hours, 48 days, 12 minutes, 2 seconds, I'll be out of this.
That's one. And then secondly, while that 2-year period or that gestation period, let me call it that, is, you're waiting for that to birth this beautiful Nigeria that everybody can live in, the government has to actively put measures in place to help lessen the load. Yes, we know that taxes and all of this are going to be a
Don't
thing.
Don't even go me on taxes.
No, I'm coming. It's a revenue generating thing. You have to generate revenue, but then start to check multiple taxation in certain industries, certain areas. Make sure that they're not taking on more than they can bear in this time while they're waiting for the 2-year period.
Who measures what you can bear? That's my thinking.
It is different for everybody. There's no lying about that, but at least give a time frame, put some, measures in place to help people manage. However they manage it is up to them, and then people will start to say, okay, I can just hold on for the next day. I can just hold on for the next day. But everything is so open-ended. And then most importantly, like I mentioned earlier, the austerity level, the austerity measures thing doesn't seem to be affecting the people at the top. We have to balance it out everywhere. If you have to cut down on salaries and allowances, cut down on those things. Even those people we say 1 million naira. of the people at the helm of affairs. Cut down on excessive spending on certain things that when you look at it, you say, okay, it's okay to have that yacht, it's okay to have this, it's okay to have that, but is this the time?
So me, I think what we term excessive spending, I mean, to some of the people at the top or the political class, as you may have it, is not excessive spending. Unfortunately, I mean, when you see someone drive in 7 cars, yeah, I mean, the person is not seeing it as excessive spending. The person is seeing it as protecting his life and property.
Protective spending.
It's okay. What?
Yeah. To be honest, I mean, you are seeing it that, when you now buy fuel for all these 7 SUVs, you will have used that. No. The person is saying, how about if I'm going to airport and all of a sudden somewhere around Lugbe, the tire of the G-Wagon I'm in goes flat. Why not jump into the other vehicle? That's what we're talking about.
Wait, that's true. You're into cars. I've been seeing some, I don't know, Instagram comments saying they used to put knife inside tires now that doesn't used to go down. Is that thing true?
Okay, so.
Okay, well, I'll allow you to talk about that on the break. Let's take 2 calls and go on the break. And you tell me how to make sure my tires don't go down. And Salensa too, please. Good morning, T.
Good afternoon.
Jesus. Okay, good to you. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Dr. Femi and the Bologna.
Yes, sir.
My name is Abakar calling you from Gogolada.
Welcome, Abakar.
Thank you. I will say to you all, Eku Nigeria. Welcome to Nigeria. The situation is so bad. It's so bad. We are all feeling the effect of the economic hardship. It was not this bad. Everything is skyrocketing. Economic woes is unbearable. Dr. Femi Amele. You are a student of political science, a scholar, not even student, a scholar of political science. Economic is a social science. If people are paying, there must be reaction. This situation is so bad. It's so bad. It was not this worse in 1983 during the Shagari government when the democracy collapsed. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We are not benefiting from this democracy. Thank you. That is my take.
Not benefited. Do you agree with him? Okay, somebody is on the line, and I have a feeling that people will know this voice. Hello? Hello? Oh, there. It did stay long enough. There. Okay. No problem. We need to go on the break soon. Now, for a moment, I thought I saw Fortune harassing the phone line. Fortune Agula was there for a moment ago. Yeah, he's still there. Oh.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi.
Okay, so my name is from Area 1 right now.
Your name is from Area 1? That's what we heard.
My name is Fortune. My name is Fortune. I'm calling from Area 1.
Hello. Okay. Good afternoon, Fortune.
Hi. Okay, so Femi D, you actually touched my nerve when you spoke about the tires that don't go down.
I know. I know.
I had to talk about that one. I mean, there's a very healthy reason why those tires are not very popular.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it has something very seriously to do with the cost of those tires.
Like how much?
They're called run flats.
How much can they cost in Naira? How much?
No, you see, we can't be too hasty. It depends on who you are and where you are going. You understand me? So there is a run flat that when it shoots, reinflates itself.
Yeah.
There's the one that it doesn't even, the bullet will not even penetrate in the first place. You know, and like I said, it depends on who you are.
Who am I? I am me. I'm Femi D. Tell me how much the cost is.
Dr. Femi
Billionaire is here next to me.
Out of respect. The wrong flat tire will buy all our 4 cars. Me, you, Somi, and the billionaire who happens to be a billionaire but does not have wrong flat tires.
Wow.
It depends on which vehicle you know me with.
Come on.
So I mean, you can't put me in that. I mean, no, you don't want to do that. Yes, sir.
Well,
Well, but you can get run flat tires that cost to 10 million.
You say?
It depends.
You say?
Yes, sir.
10 million naira.
And that's the
Yes,
fairly
and this-
priced one, right?
Exactly. Those are fairly priced ones. We can't be announcing such prices on air. So if you have, for instance, there's a kind of armored vehicle you will have that regular tires will not be able to carry. You need run flat tires because of the weight of the armor itself.
Yeah.
So you are moving in a whole garrison. You are driving around in a war chest that, it can repel any kind of attack, both from beneath the vehicle, above it, or from either side. You are moving, in a fortress such that you can secure the destinies of your fourth generation from this generation.
Fortunately, we get your point. It's me that asked for description. It's my fault.
Exactly. When you bring up such conversations, you don't bring it up where regular people talk. No, you bring it up at midnight.
I need to change my clan of people that I talk with, so that you can give me 4 tire. That's the whole business. Fortunately, it's so good to talk to you.
For me, it's so good to hear from you too.
Yes.
And guys, I miss you guys so much. It's good to have this laugh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Even though this information you gave now is just quite depressing, for anybody who was aspiring, say, okay, we must protect ourselves. Let me get run flat tires. You will rethink that thought.
But my fear now, I mean, my challenge with the whole conversation around this tire thing now is that when Kim comes back, how do we explain to others we talked about tire or Roundtable?
It's insecurities. It's tied to insecurity.
But sincerely, you start to wonder if the vehicles that, for example, the National Assembly members are asking for.
I knew you were going to go there.
Yeah, are they made of? Are they made? And I use the word made, trying to be very incorrect with my English. Are those tires made, or are those vehicles made of that? Are they still your brand of vehicles that you and I see and they're not pronounceable, or that you see and you wonder about, why is this car short? I don't know why it is short. Why is this car sitting like it has bow leg? And no, it's not with the bow leg after all. Well, let's take a more conversation around the round table. We'll keep it open on quite a number of topics. Looks like we should be inclining towards food soon enough. Stay with us. This is Hard Facts Roundtable. We'll be back after now.
There's a place where you can get it all trending.
People are dropping on their vehicle and running, leaving their vehicle.
A place where you can air your views.
I want to report the situation.
Only on your number one station for talk.
This is not the way. We cannot continue like this.
95.1.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Nwachukwu. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.